So these are going to be your sine and cosine curves specifically. So uh, this is kind of dumb. Basically, this just says a trig functions has one of the trig ratios, which of course it does. I want you to think back on the unit circle, how the x coordinate is always defined as cosine of the angle, and the y coordinate is always defined as cosine is x, sine is y. So if we want to just look at sine or just look at cosine, what we're going to do is take the angle measurement and just cosine or sine and create an equation with just sine or with just cosine. And we're going to graph it along instead of going around and around and around a circle, we're going to go around and around and around the x-axis. So this is what we call the sine curve. So we think about all of the main points on the unit circle, like pi over 6 is 30, pi over 3 is 60, pi over 2 is 90. These are just all of the degrees and radians that are important. Then we have the sine value. So this would be, if we think of the y value, each time along the curve, what I'm going to do is just graph them. All right, so this is my x, this is my y. So sine starts out at 0, 0. I'm going to focus on multiples of pi over 2, and everything else is just in between. So at pi over 2, my y value is 1, and that's because on the unit circle here, this coordinate is 0, 1. My y coordinate at 90 degrees is 1. If we look over here, if I open it all the way up to 180 or pi, my y coordinate, it's negative 1, 0. My y coordinate is 0. So I'm matching everything from the unit circle and just putting the y value, the sine value in for y and graphing it. So really, this looks super a lot. You just need to know, mark each hash mark going up by pi over 2. We start at 0. It's either 1, 0, negative 1, or 0. Sine goes up to 1 and down to negative 1. Then I just connect the dots. I just make a nice, smooth curve, and it just repeats over and over again. So the main idea, we go 4 spots. Sine starts at 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0. Connect the dots. We can then do the same thing for the cosine curve. So let's think about the main points on the unit circle. The cosine comes from the x-coordinate of the unit circle. So this is 1, 0. So that's why when the angle is 0, we go to 1. When the angle is pi over 2, that's 0, 1. The x-coordinate is 0. Pi, negative 1, because the x-coordinate is negative 1. So what we do, we're going to do the same thing. Mark negative pi over 2, pi over 2. We just go up by pi over 2 each time, ending with 2 pi. Just remember, sine starts at 0, cosine starts at 1, and it goes down. And sometimes it helps with cosine to come back down this way and kind of to make that smooth curve, because it's important that you come back down, because for both sine and cosine, nothing goes above 1, nothing goes below negative 1. Everything for sine and cosine, your range goes between 1 and negative 1 and 1 every single time, because it goes all the way to the left, all the way to the right. The domain is negative infinity to infinity. But it's just learning these curves. Cosine starts at 1, sine starts at 0, and just repeat the pattern. Notice when we get all the way around to 2 pi, that means we've gone all the way around the circle, and then it just starts to repeat over and over.